boys and girls, welcome back to Backyard Buckets. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe. We're posting basketball videos. Trying to post twice a day. We didn't get to yesterday, but today we're posting twice a day. Tomorrow we're posting twice. So make sure to stick around, subscribe, and let's get going. Today we're talking about the Atlanta Hawks and how they basically won the offseason. I mean, it's kind of a toss-up between them and probably the Lakers, I would say. Or, I mean, there's some other teams, but it's probably between them and the Lakers right now because they've improved this roster that they've got around Trae Young so much this offseason. It's crazy, to be honest. But today we're going to be looking at every move they've made, and we're going to be giving them a grade. First off, we're going to start with the draft. But the Hawks had the 6th pick in the draft, and they selected Onyeka Okongwu. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce his name. Out of the University of USC, who is really good offensively, averaging 21 and 11 last year, as well as 3 blocks and a steal and a half. But he's an elite two-way player. People are kind of saying he could turn into like a Bam Adebayo type, where he's really good offensively, but he's even better defensively, where he can guard 3 through 5 probably on the floor just because of his length and athleticism, but he's also strong enough to guard the center at the same time. But the Hawks did just acquire Clint Capella, and they already had John Collins, so I gave that pick a B. They could have addressed some other positions, but he will be, I'd say he'd probably be a really good option off the bench for the Hawks this season. You know, he's not being asked to do too much as a rookie. He can kind of contribute, play his role. Doesn't have to play too big of a role. Doesn't have to stunt his development to do something that they need him to do right away, and he can just kind of grow into the player that he wants to be. Next, with the 50th pick in the draft, the Hawks got an absolute steal, taking Skylar Mays, who's a really good scorer, but an even better defender, just like Onyeka. He averaged 17, 5, and 3 last year, as well as 2 steals a game, and was first-team All-SEC as a senior. He was a 4-year guy, so that's probably one of the reasons he fell down to 50th overall. But the Hawks were kind of looking for somebody that could grow in and, help Trae Young out in the starting backcourt, and he's a great defender and a good scorer too. He can get his own shot, but he can score off of Trae's passes. And then Trae's not the greatest at defense, obviously, but Skylar Mays is a really good defender, so that could kind of make up for Trae's lack of defense. And I gave that pick an A- because there's no guarantee that he's going to grow into the starting lineup, but it's still a good pick, taking a shot at it and trying to get him to grow and be a part of that starting backcourt. Now, the Hawks made 5 signings this offseason. 4 of them were pretty important, and we're going to start off with the first one being Rajon Rondo, coming over from the NBA champion LA Lakers on a 2-year, $15 million deal. And I gave this one an A- just because if things go wrong, it's a very tradable contract, only $7.5 million a year for only 2 years. But he can be a great backup point guard, just with his passing and also defending, as well as he can score a little bit, but mainly his passing, because that's kind of what Rondo's known for. So yeah, I gave it an A-. Next, Chris Dunn on a 2-year, $10 million deal. One thing I did know that the Hawks are trying to become the greatest defensive basketball team of all time, because Chris Dunn is a lockdown defender. Skylar Mays is a lockdown defender. Clint Capella is known for being a lockdown, or at least a paint lockdown. And then they got Onyeka. Trae, obviously, not the greatest defender in the world, but he can play a little bit. DeAndre Hunter as well, forgot about him. He's a great defender, or at least he was at Virginia. So yeah, they've got a lot of, and they've also got really good scorers. Trae Young obviously being the main one, but they signed a couple of guys that could be really good scorers, and Cam Reddish has an opportunity to grow to be a really good scorer with John Collins. So yeah, they're taking really good really big steps this offseason. But the Chris Dunn signing, I gave it an A because it's only $5 million a year for 2 years, so they're not really taking any big risks there. And he's a good guard that can come in and play defense off the bench. Let kind of Cam Reddish be the main scoring option off the bench, and just come in and play alongside Rondo and Skylar Mays probably in the backcourt off the bench. Next up, we've got Danilo Gallinari on a 3-year, $62 million deal. I gave this one an A. It is a good bit of money, but Gallinari, really good scorer. Can play the 3, can play the 4. John Collins not the greatest scorer. Really relied mainly on Trey, I'd say, last year. Although he can get his own buckets, but Trey was probably the biggest reason he had as good of a year as he did. But yeah, Gallinari will provide some much-needed scoring to their 3 and 4 positions. Next up, we've got Bogdan Bogdanovic. I gave the Danilo signing an A, by the way. I don't know if I said that already. Next up, Bogdan Bogdanovic, 4 years, $72 million, coming over from the Sacramento Kings. This is an A+. I mean, Bogdan will give them immediate scoring, shooting. Not the greatest defender, but they've addressed defense, like we said, already this offseason. And they actually stole him away from the Bucks, so they not only strengthened their team a lot, but they also weakened the Bucks, who had a sign-and-trade deal in place with the Kings. But they did not sign the offer sheet that the Hawks signed. So Bogdan ended up in Atlanta. That is an A+ all day. Great signing from the Hawks. Next up, this one is a little less known. Solomon Hill on a 1-year deal. A veteran presence, was at one point considered to be up next 3-and-D guy, but career kind of got derailed by injuries. So, it's just solid 3-and-D guy, 1-year undisclosed deal, B-. They also traded for Tony Snell, I think to get off somebody's salary. I can't quite remember. But they did trade for Tony Snell. I don't know if he'll see any playing time. They got so many young guys that they need to get in the game. But they also signed undrafted free agent Nathan Knight. Could be a pretty good pickup. I saw a lot of people say he was one of the hidden gems of this year's draft class. So you never know. I gave it a B+. Just another guy that can fight for minutes. And then, quietly, they went out and signed Nate McMillan, who I never thought should have got let go by the Pacers. But they went out and signed him to the staff of the current coach, Lloyd Pierce. And that's an A++ for the Hawks. Great signing. But, yeah, that'll be all. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed at any point. It really helps the video out. And make sure to come back later for the next video. Thanks for watching.